early arrivers. We've got about 7 minutes before we start. We're just testing out some audio and video. So hang with us. I wonder if I can put good hold music in now while you guys wait. I'll check back in a couple minutes as we get closer to the beginning of the webinar. We're about 4 minutes from starting, but all of you who are here already are awesome for being early. You're the people I'd want to have meetings with. You should have a question box that you can type questions in that will come to us. If at any point you have a question, please type it in there, any feedback. We always want to make these webinars as great as we can make them. I don't know how things are in other parts of the country, but here it's back to school week. Either this week or next week, everybody starts school again. So the kids are a little sad, especially the older ones, and a lot of the moms are pretty excited. But fall will be coming soon. I'm recording this webinar for an archive, so if anybody's listening to the recording later, skip up about 3 minutes from here to where we start. The first 6 minutes are going to be dead air. Okay, we got about 2 more minutes. We'll get this thing going. We're gonna be half an hour. We're gonna be done at noon Eastern time. So you can go to lunch if you're Eastern time, or get on with your day anywhere else. If you're in Hawaii, I'm sorry that I did this at 5:30 in the morning. We invited some Hawaiian trucking companies to attend, mostly because I want to go out and try and meet them personally, because it's Hawaii. Okay, about 1 more minute, we'll get this thing going. To the early arrivers, thanks for your patience as we wait for everyone else to get in. Yeah, I wonder if there's a way to put good background music in here, like good hold music, if there is such a thing, while we wait. Okay, well, it's 11:30, so we're going to get started. First of all, thank you for attending the webinar today. Our goal is to help you improve your driver recruiting. One of the things when we talk to our clients, if we could magically solve any one problem for them, it would be help me get more and better drivers. We hear it from everybody. And if we had the Aladdin magic lamp, we do that, all the rest of the problems would seem small in comparison. So that's why we're doing this. Let's make the truck drive away here. A little bit about me. I'm the founder of Superior Trucking Payroll Service. Been doing this for a while, been helping trucking companies. We have trucking companies all across the country. We don't need to spend a lot of time on this, but we're just going to skip that one. Here's what we want to talk about today. There's 5 things you may be doing wrong. Obviously, I don't know all of your situations, but these are common things that we see that people do wrong when they're trying to recruit drivers. Then there's 5 things that you need to do if you're not doing them, or you need to do them better. Again, we don't know everybody's situation, but it's really important to do these things to recruit better drivers. The third thing is why percentage of capacity. If you have 200 trucks having 200 drivers, or 200, having no empty seats, that's a bad way to judge your recruiting effort. And we'll talk about that. And then questions and answers. If at any time you have a question, there should be a question box in the little go to webinar screen. Type in your question. We'll try and answer them today. If we can't, we'll contact you with an answer, because we want to help people. The first thing we're going to do here is we're going to launch a quick poll. Does your trucking company pay per diem? And this will tie into some other things. And so, yes, we pay it at $63 a day to the over-the-road drivers. No, we pay it at a different amount. That second one is if you pay a different amount per day, or you pay 8 cents a mile or 10 cents a mile, or you pay 20% or 30%, any of those things. So I'd really appreciate the feedback. It's going to run for about another 30 seconds. I think I get to display the results. I'm a payroll expert. I'm not necessarily a GoToWebinar expert. So give us a little bit of time. Well, we've got most of the votes in already. So thank you, all of you, for participating. We're not going to make everybody stand up and introduce themselves or any intrusive participation like that. So we're collecting the responses, and I'll tell you the responses if they don't show up anyway. I'm going to give it about 7 more seconds, and then we'll display it. All right, we're close enough here. I'm going to hit close. All right, the results are 11% of you, yes, pay it $63 a day. 26% of you, yes, you pay it, but not at $63 a day. 48% of you are no, we do have over-the-road drivers, but we don't pay per diem. And 15% of you are, we don't have over-the-road drivers. And those people are either locals, or I know there are some other trucking industry experts that are in on this webinar. And so they would fall into that category. So thank you, all of you who participated. This is great information for us. It helps us figure out how we can help you. All right, let's start this. Here's a Japanese proverb. You can read it. The way that I've heard it most common recently is through a podcast done by Jordan Harbinger, who does soft skills, like how to deal with people podcasts. And his is dig the well before you're thirsty. Where that applies is look for drivers before you need drivers. When you need drivers, it's way too late to be looking for drivers. My advice would be, and probably a lot of you do this, but look for drivers all the time, even if you're full, because you probably have drivers that you would want to replace, or by the time you get somebody in, you're going to have an opening. And if none of that happens, there's enough freight out there right now that you can probably get equipment and get that driver going and make some more money. But dig the well before you're thirsty. Let's start with the 5 things you may be doing wrong. Hopefully all this stuff for you guys is all just, oh, we do all these things and we're fine. But some of you, it'll apply and you can be a little bit better at recruiting. You don't know why drivers choose to work for you. What I would suggest is have somebody in your company that's not the dispatcher, have it, if you, the safety person, the HR person, the recruiter, the president, ask your drivers, especially the drivers that you like. You're always going to, most companies are going to have 20 to 25% of their drivers that they love and they would clone if they could just figure out cloning technology. Ask those drivers, what made you work for us? Why did you come work for us? Their answers are going to probably surprise you. It's not going to be cents per mile necessarily. It might be, I like this company because I can talk to the president of the company anytime I want to because there's 30 trucks. Or it might be, I like where you guys run or what kind of trailers you pull or whatever. I don't care what their answer is. It might be that they love your benefit package. I have no idea. But you want to know these things because you want to recruit drivers like them. And so to recruit them, you need to know what they like. It's really important. And I can't, it also makes them feel like part of the process, and you engage them, which goes into retention, which we'll talk about later. The next thing you might be doing wrong is your ad. You're running an ad in the newspaper or on Craigslist or on Indeed or on Facebook or wherever you want to run it. Your ad is too general. If you look around at other people's ads, you can see this, and you'll see the subject lines are all, they don't inspire you to click on them if they're digital. The ad will say great pay, great company, great benefits, great home time, all the same things. Drivers don't believe that. And so that be specific. We offer this. We offer 401k. We offer benefits on day 1 of hire. And put those things in these things. A lot of these things will be from the previous point, why the drivers chose to work for you, because those are the decision-making reasons. Make those part of the subject line of your ad, and then in the ad, just bullet points. The point of the ad is to get them to call you, and you got to close it when they call. So that's it's so important. You don't want to read a whole book to them in the ad. I was looking at some ads this morning, and there was a company, a well-reputed company, and their ad was literally, it was on Craigslist, and it was 2 monitors high, and it was all in all caps, and it was this whole essay about why other companies are horrible. Like, no driver is going to sit, no person, forget about drivers. Nobody's going to sit and read 2.5 pages like they have to do a book report on it. They just want to know the bullet points. And the point is to get them to call. You're not going to hire them from the ad. You're going to get them to call, and you're going to take them in from there. Here's the example this morning. I apologize if this is hard to read, but I just used Dallas, Texas, Craigslist. Here's all the ads. This isn't even all of them from today, and this is what I did at 8 o'clock Dallas time. So all these things have been placed between midnight and 8 o'clock Dallas time, and I got about 2/3. I had to make the font bigger. About 2/3 of the ads that had already been placed on August 22nd. And you look, if you're a driver, put yourself in the driver's shoes. Are these people giving me reasons to click? And again, the reason's going to be everybody. And I'm not opening them, and I'm not picking on anybody, but I'm looking at, like, come roll with the best. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I don't know. The one that I did click on was hiring Class A regional and OTR drivers. Speak with a recruiter today. Have you ever met a driver that wants to speak to a recruiter? I haven't. And so I don't know how effective. Maybe it's effective for them, but the subject line could be something like, best benefits in the industry, or vision insurance paid for by the company, whatever. I'm picking on things. What makes you unique. You'll be able to find out why the drivers come to work for you. That's your subject line. Like this one down here, home weekends. Okay, that probably important to somebody. And again, I didn't click on the ad, but you get the idea. I mean, make your ad, make the driver want to click on it. And you can go look those up yourself, dallas.craigslist.org, and then transportation jobs. The other thing I see companies do is they're throwing one dart at the dartboard. They run their ad in one place, and they run it. It's usually a newspaper. It's less so as newspapers are dying. Or they'll just run a Craigslist ad, or they'll just put an ad on Facebook, or they'll just put an ad in, not usually LinkedIn, but they'll just put an ad in Indeed or ZipRecruiter. You really got to cover a wide area, because you don't know where people are looking. And I run your ad in a lot of places. And run it consistently, because you really need people to see that ad. You want to get as many eyeballs in as many different places as you can. And if you run the ad only in Craigslist, for example, and you only run ads in Craigslist, then you're going to miss out on everybody who doesn't click on Craigslist looking for a job, the people that click on Indeed. And if you're thinking, well, I do have a budget and I can't just spend everywhere. Well, and I understand that. Well, then this time run it in Craigslist, and next time run it in Indeed. They're both about the same price. And the next time run it somewhere else, and move it around so you can try and get a different audience each time you run it. All right. The next one, drivers that respond to your ad need to feel like they're wanted. It's a big deal. It's a big human need to be wanted. So when they call you and they say, I saw your ad on Craigslist or on Indeed or in the newspaper or on Facebook or wherever they found you, which, by the way, you should ask them that, because you want to know what advertising works. But when they find it, you need to be, I'm so glad you called. We're excited to hear about you. And then talk to them on the phone and kind of do an interview on the phone. By the end of the phone call, you need them to want to come in. And if you tell them at the end of the phone, if they're telling you, I've got 5 years of CDLA, and I've got no accidents, and I've got no points on no DUIs or any of that kind of stuff, and if they don't sound like a jerk, you probably just want to offer them a job right then and say, come on in, we got to fill out paperwork, of course. The DOT requires us to get an application, and you got to do a drug test, and you got to do we got to get you a med card and all that stuff. But tell them, look, if everything you're telling me is true, I want to hire you. And then hopefully they don't call the other 5 people that they looked at when they looked at Craigslist this morning or at Indeed this morning when they decided they were ready to switch jobs. Make them feel like they're already part of the team as quickly as you can. Don't make them jump through hoops. And because if you do that, they're not going to jump through very many hoops before they go, well, it'd be just easier to go drive for somebody else. Super important. Just put yourself in the driver's shoes all the way through this. And so be excited that they called, be happy, be telling them that we've got a great team and we're hoping to add you, which hopefully is true. It just that kind of stuff. It really goes a long way, because if you're just like, yeah, go to our website and fill out our app and then we'll get back to you, you're never going to hire them and you're going to wonder why I can't get drivers. Hopefully I'm not beating anybody up about this. The last one is, you need to know why drivers that saw your ad or that contacted you, how many of them went to work for somebody else. And you need to know why. Is it pay? Is it equipment? Is it where you go? Is it they just liked somebody else better? Try to pin them down for a reason. But if they called you, you've got their phone number, or if they emailed you or whatever, you've got a way to contact them. And even if they chose to go somewhere else, first of all, they may not last over there. It might be the other people are lying to them and they might come back to you. So you kind of want to keep those a little bit warm, and just say, hey, why did you choose to work for ABC Trucking instead of coming to work for us? That data is going to be super helpful. It's going to, well, I chose to work for them because they have newer equipment or something like that. And if you get enough of those, then you got to consider your equipment options. Of course, that's easy for me to spend millions of your dollars, but that data is important. Think of it like, for any of you who have ever been in sales, there's a sales funnel and you have leads, kind of their suspects, and then you have prospects, and you narrow it down. People fall off along the way. You want to know why people that call you are falling off. It might be that they only have a chauffeur's license and they didn't realize that a CDLA is different. So something to consider there. But you want to know these things. And if it is, for example, if you're getting people with chauffeur's license calling, you make sure that you explain what a CDLA is in your ad, because those people are never going to come work for you. But for the people who were qualified and chose not to work for you, if you can kind of keep that ember burning just a little bit, they may come back to you. And don't give up on them just because they chose to work for somebody else today. So those are those 5 things. I can't ever see here we go. Here are 5 things that you may need to do better. Let's talk about your website. Your website needs to be all about drivers. Whether you have a separate website, drive for jonestrucking.com, or you make it the main part of your jonestrucking.com website. It needs to be its own. It really needs to be the focus of your internet presence, because you're not looking for loads right now. There's plenty of loads. You're looking for the things that's stopping you from doing more business is you're looking for drivers. With that in mind, your whole website should really be, instead of it being a traditional trucking website often that I see is, we're great at hauling loads, we're on time, we're safe, we have no claims, we're CTPAT, we're all these things that make a shipper want to use us. And then in the corner, oh yeah, we're hiring drivers too. If you're a driver, let us know, call us and we'll talk. All that needs to be completely reversed. And it needs to be, here's why you want to work for us. And again, the reasons from that first point about things that we took, the very first thing we talked about knowing why drivers choose to work for you, list all those out. And then in the corner, all the things are about what you do for the drivers. And because it's a website, you've got kind of unlimited room. You can list everything. If you pay per diem, you have to list it on your website. Drivers that know what they're doing will know about per diem and they will want it and it will matter. And if they're looking at your website that doesn't list per diem, even though you pay it, and you're looking at somebody else's website and they list it and they pay it, they're going to call them first. So you list things like that. Just because it doesn't cost you money doesn't mean it's not a benefit to the driver. But yeah, your whole website should be driver recruiting and how to get a hold of us and what we need to do and how quickly we can do it. And then in the corner, oh yeah, we're also really good at hauling loads. And if your stuff needs to be either on time and you want no claims and you need customs or whatever your specialty is, call us. That's it. You just need to do that. And I really suggest having a separate website, Drive for Jones, or jonestruckingdrivers.com. I really recommend that. That way you can kind of keep it separate from the main trucking website, and maybe you can have someone else put content in it. You can allow different people. There's reasons like that for it. But if you can't do that, at least have your website be about drivers. The next thing, social media. For the for those of you, I'm 50, and so if you're older than me, you're like, social media, ugh, you got to do it. Find somebody in your office who's in their early 20s and let them manage your social media. And you need to post every day. You need to have a Facebook page that makes sense and that it has links back to your website, the driver recruiting website. And you need to have posts on there every day. And they don't all have to be serious. They don't all have to be help wanted. They can be little jokes. They can be, hey, the interstate's going to be closed by us. You're going to start taking a detour. They can be anything. And this stuff is so freely available. As an example, here's one that I pulled off of the Midwest Trucking Association's Facebook page. It was about a road check. You just post that on your website. You're letting your drivers know that road check's coming. It's not so much, your drivers benefit, but it's for the other people that see your Facebook page. Those are the people we're trying to get, the potential drivers. Just in your Instagram. Instagram is the big thing now for those of you who aren't aware. Instagram is where you put everything. So you put stuff like this, or if you want to have a little more fun with it, you put this one up. I happen to think this one's pretty funny. I of course can't back up a 53-foot trailer anywhere. I would do it at a 90-degree angle unintentionally when it's not supposed to be. So, just fun stuff like that. It kind of lets them know you appreciate them. Like when you're doing Driver Appreciation Week, probably at the end of September, you put it in there. You put stuff in there, those kinds of things. But just have something in there every day. Give people a reason to look, and hopefully at some point it adds up over time, and they start clicking on your Facebook page, and then they like it, and then their friends see it, and then they like it. It takes time, but it costs you nothing. So there's no good reason not to do this. Let's be honest, you probably have a 20-something in your office who's on Facebook right now anyway, even though they're supposed to be working. Now at least they can pretend to do some work and put these things up. Again, these memes like this are everywhere. They're not hard to find. Just go follow other trucking companies or just go Google trucking meme and you'll find them. There's enough. You can do one of these every day for a year and you'll never even come close to repeating them. And that's without making your own. So vibrant social media, all the time posting, post twice a day if you can. Driver of the month. Hopefully you're seeing so far the things that I'm talking about don't cost you money, not significant money. I'm not telling you raise your rate per mile by 10 cents. I'm not telling you buy all brand new trucks. I said look at it. If the people are leaving you over equipment, then that's something you got to look at. But I'm not saying drive all new trucks. I'm not saying just pour money at the problem. It's trucking. It's not like we're sitting on piles of money. So driver of the month, this one will actually cost you $50 a month. That's, I think, the most expensive thing we've done. Every month you have a driver of the month, and every month you have a picture of the president of the company, if possible, shaking hands with said driver of the month and handing him the $50 gift card to him or her to a gift card for a restaurant or for Amazon or for Best Buy. I don't care where you give them a gift card to. Ask them where they want it or just have them, whatever you want to do. And then below it, you're going to have a blurb from the president of the company saying, Bill or Jane or whoever is our driver of the month. They've been with us for 6 years. They're 100% accident free. Our customers love them. We're so glad they're part of the team. And then you'll have a blurb from the driver saying, I love working for Jones Trucking because whatever their reason is, I don't care what their reason is. It makes no difference to me. But it's going to be authentic because it's coming from the driver. It can be I like that we only pull reefers, or we only pull flats, or we never pull flats, or I'm home they promised me I'd be home every Friday and Saturday, and I'm home every Friday and Saturday. In the 6 years, I've never had to be out over the weekend because that's what they promised me. Whatever their words, you put it on your social media, put it on your website. You should have a page on your website for this kind of stuff. You should have a little blog page anyway in this driver recruiting. Other drivers, first of all, you're going to have some improved retention because your current drivers are going to be appreciated. It's $50. You'd give a good driver $50 anyway. And what else is going to happen is prospective drivers are going to see that you appreciate your drivers. Everybody wants to be appreciated. I don't care what you do. I don't I don't care if you're working at McDonald's frying up French fries. Getting a thank you from a customer is still worthwhile. Getting a thank you from the boss is still worthwhile. Again, it costs you $50. So I'm going to kind of speed through a little bit of this because I'm running out of time and I'm going to keep it to half an hour. Ask your drivers for referrals. Most companies will have the top 20% of the drivers and the bottom 20% of the drivers that you just assume fire if you could, and the 60% in the middle. That 20% at the top, pull them into your office next time they're in the office and just say, I need a favor. You're one of the best drivers we have. You're always on time. Our customers love you. You take good care of the equipment. You get good fuel mileage. You're just the ideal driver. I need more people like you. Can you help me find them? And then they'll be on the look. It'll be in their radar and they'll be on the lookout for them. And you'll be surprised what you'll get. Again, it costs you nothing. I'm not talking about paying bounties. I'm talking about referral fees. Pay those if you want or if you're already doing it. But I'm not asking for anything extra. The other nice thing about it is they're only going to get you drivers that are going to be as good as they think it will be as good as they are. So they're not going to get you those bottom 20% guys. And they're going to take ownership of it. Again, you just sit them down and just ask them for their help. Treat them like people. You'll be surprised what people will do for you if you ask. The last one is you got to exit interview every driver, even if you didn't like them. Some people exit interview the drivers they like. Exit interview all of them, unless you fire. Okay, if you fire them, maybe we accept those. But anybody who leaves you of their own volition, even if you were gonna fire them, you gotta know why they left. You're looking for themes. You're looking for aggregates. You're looking for one of the examples of one of the things that happens is, let's say your dispatcher isn't nice to your drivers. So then the driver quits and you go ask the dispatcher, hey, what happened? The dispatcher, because now they're the sole storyteller in the company, goes, yeah, that driver had a bad attitude. I'm glad he's gone. Well, you need to know, you need to do a brief exit interview. It's really just, hey, why did you leave and would you consider coming back in another situation? And that's really all you want to know. You want to keep it away from the operations people. You want your HR person to do it, or your lead finance person if HR flows into that, or your president of the company gets the results. And then you need to aggregate it. You need to know, are people leaving over equipment? Are they leaving over days out, like they're out too many days or not enough days? Are they leaving over having to go to Long Island when we told them they'd never have to go to Long Island? Whatever the reason is, you want to know this and you want to collect it. And if you have enough drivers, you're going to have enough people leaving. You're going to learn about your company. If you get 5 drivers that say, oh, I left because my dispatcher's a jerk, and they all have the same dispatcher, that dispatcher at a minimum needs a Dale Carnegie course. They might need to be broomed out the door because they're costing you drivers. So it's really important to do this. We have a client, as an example, that sends us the reason why everybody quits, and then we aggregate it for them. I'm not trying to sell anything in this webinar, but I'm letting you know it can be done pretty easily, and we can do it, or you can do it yourself. So I'm not trying to, this is educational, so but just, it can be done. Okay, now why 100% of having seats filled is a horrible way to measure your recruiting. 100% full does not measure the quality of the driver. I'd rather have 80% good drivers and 20% of my trucks parked than have a mix of drivers where I've got 20% horrible drivers that are wrecking my equipment and causing my insurance rates to go up and making me late and making my customers more mad than if I just would have said I couldn't take that load, which I know it's hard to turn down work, but if you can't service it properly, you shouldn't service it. It's a big deal. Better drivers, they're out there. You see, they talk about the driver turnover everywhere. All these drivers are swimming around. You just got to keep the good ones. The other thing I don't like is, rewarding recruiters for number of hires just exacerbates the problem because they're just looking for anybody that they is minimally qualified that can fill the seat. They're not looking at good fit. They're not looking at anything. And funnily enough, if they hire bad drivers and they quit and they hire another one, they go, look, I hired all these drivers for you this year. You have 50 trucks and I hired 75 drivers. I'm a rock star. Yeah, but they're all horrible. I still have 20 empty trucks and I've got 10 drivers I'd fire if I could. I would rather reward the recruiting. If you have a recruiter, reward them for retention. Reward them for how many drivers stay more than a year, or how many drivers stay more than 18 months or 6 months. Just pick them at pick a measurement. Reward them that way because you want to reward them for finding good drivers, not just putting rear ends in seats. So hopefully that, I could go on more about this. And our next, I'm going to skip these two because these are salesy and I just have to leave them in there, but they're gone. We're going to do questions here in a minute. Type your question if you've got one, and I'll look at that box in a minute. We're going to do a webinar next month on driver retention, on low cost or no cost driver retention strategies. Driver retention is every bit as important as driver recruiting. It just is. Every driver you retain is one you don't have to hire, and the cost of hiring and all these things. So that will be at the end of next month, probably 4 weeks from today. And so now I'm looking for questions from people. Type them into the box. I saw a thing where one of the attendees had their hand up, and I don't know why you put hands up. So type me in a question. One of the questions I get, the first one I get every webinar is, can you send me a copy of the slides? Yes, we're sending them to all of you. You're all going to get copies of the slides. Further, this webinar will be being recorded. I will send you a link to it if you want to watch it again. The more people we can spread the love to, the better. Trucking's hard. Let's just make it a little bit easier. A next thing is trucking experts that are out there. Let's see here. I got a question in here and I'm trying to open it. So sorry again that I'm not a GoToWebinar expert. I see the person, it's the question just as their company name, it looks like. So Gerald, if you have a question, I try and type your question in the question box or hit me offline. We're going to wrap this up in a minute anyway. I'll email you and we'll try and get your question worked out. But anyway, call to experts. If you are a trucking expert, an insurance expert, a finance expert, we're going to keep doing these webinars every month, and they don't all need to be me talking. I want to help trucking companies. I want to help them just be better and save themselves money and be more profitable and take better care of their drivers. Oh, I can see a question now. Awesome. And so, if you're one of those experts, reach out to me. I'd love to have you do this. It's got to be educational. It can't be why your insurance is better than somebody else's insurance. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to just educate trucking companies. Megan asks, I'm going to take this one question and then we'll talk to any other questions I'll have to answer offline because it's already noon. Can you send an example of a good job posting? Well, Megan, I can. The main thing is that first thing we talked about, know why drivers choose to work for you. That's the first thing we need to know. That's the meat of what we're trying to do. That said, I'm going to reach out to you online because everybody's is going to be a little different. The reason that why people should work for you is different than the reason why people should work for somebody else. And one of the things in your ad, if you make your ad too general, it's like you're trying to, there's say 1,000 people see your ad. You're trying to recruit all 1,000 of them. That's not probably what the case is. You're probably trying to recruit 6 of them or 10 of them, depending on the size of your company, or 1 of them. I don't know. So your ad should be specific because you really only want the people that are interested in the things that you offer, because they're going to be the best fits. Those are the ones that you want. So make your ad specific to why your company is awesome and why people should want to work there, and put it from their side. But that said, I'll reach out to you after this and we can talk about your situation and we could probably craft an ad for you that's going to be better. Use bullet points. You've got about 7 to 10 seconds to catch the driver's attention if you get them to open the ad. Do not go into a dissertation about trucking. If you're going to put everybody to sleep. Make that for your master's degree when you go get that, when you get your MBA. Don't waste it here. Let's see, I'm going to see if there's anything else I got to deal with here. Do I have data? Do I have any? Hi, Dan. Do you have any data on which driver recruiting sites produce the best results? To me, it's not the site. It's what you put on your ad. And again, Dan, we can talk about this too. I see there are some other questions. I'm sorry I don't have time for them right now. Thank you all for attending. I'm going to email I'm going to email the slides out to all of you. I'll send a link to the recording. If any of you have any follow-up and you need to talk to us, my phone number is on the screen right now. Take it down, take my email down, call us, email us. We're here to help. Yeah, we sell payroll services, but we see a lot of trucking things. And we just want to make trucking better. Even if there was no chance you'd ever be a client of ours, you could call us and we're going to try and help you because we want to make trucking better. So thank you all very much for your time. I hope you have a great rest of the day. And if you're in Hawaii, it's 6 in the morning now. Good luck to you. Uh, and this will end the webinar. Again, feel free to follow up with any feedback that you have. Thank you so much for your time and have a great day.